This is Dear Shu Mishnah Bura as we continue Simin Reish Mem Dalid. And we're in the middle of the Ramah that teaches us as follows. Vidavka, and the aforementioned halachas are particularly Shesachre Lemalacha Yuchedes. Kigoin, Begelarige Sefer Lichtoif. Avak Shesachre Lechol HaMelachos. Sheisar Tuchzman Eschirus, then Lekuli Alma Aser. Because then there's never an end. If the worker goes from A to B and B to C and whatever, there's always more work, then there's no such thing as the worker's doing it for himself. What do you mean? He's always on call. So says the Mishnah Bura, Sivkatan Chav Ches, that the aforementioned heter of that if the person has a specific job, he could do it because he's just preventing himself from working the next day, is only when he's hired, it says the Mishnah Berurah Lemlacha Miyuchedes. Why? Because then the Yid is not necessarily gaining from the fact that the guy is working for him on Shabbos. For example, but if this guy is hired for all work, it's kimat avadai that he's going to need another malacha tomorrow. And therefore, therefore the Israel is gaining. The Israel is gaining the Yisrael is gaining from the guy's work on Shabbos, ulekach, and therefore, even if he's not getting paid per hour per day, but as long as there's going to be a gain to the Yid, therefore it is aser. L'chol malachas of katan lamid says Mishabura mitam zeh yishlimachais biyara shvachais kishaisim malachas adonim b'Shabbos. Therefore, says Mishabura, very important. One should be moiche if one has a maid that's working for them on Shabbos. Even if they're not working in your house. And the owner did not tell them they have to work. Is to hire for work, and therefore it's going to be a problem. And certainly, if it's done in the house of the Yisrael, maybe b'shem Rabbeinu Simcha. To us, the shifcha is not even allowed to do her own work. Not forget about the fact that she can't work for the owner. But let's say the shifcha wants to do her own stuff. She wants to do her own laundry. Says the Rabbeinu Simcha that is forbidden. Vatamwai, because of the classical Marasayin. No one's going to know what she's doing. They see her doing work. They're going to think she's doing work for the owner. No, that's mutter. Rabba's understanding is Rabbeinu Simcha is maskim. Ayin sham dvar. Regarding Yishev Divrei Ataz ayin sham. Ayin Steve Chayim Niklas Amachtal. Till attacking Av Shivcha Begadeho. Kuyamu mutter beis ba'al bais. She's fixing her own item that everyone's masking is okay. Why? Because that is Shumnikar Melachas Atzma. It's clear that she's doing her own work. So dear Shu over here comes along, number 25, and explains. Now, what does it mean that the Yid is Marviach? Says the Dirshu for this reason. A guy should have Shabbos. He has to wash the dishes. And now he wants to do it on Shabbos, and he wants to boil up water for that purpose. Says Hashem Zalman, if he's boiling up water so that he doesn't freeze off his hands, then the guy is allowed to turn on the hot water for that. But if he's doing it so that the dishes wash better, then you're not allowed to, because then the Yid is gaining. And this really brings out the very important Yisod, that a guy is allowed to do anything that the Yid could have done. Now, if the guy wants to do it in a more friendly manner, the guy wants to do it in a more efficient, easier manner, that's fine. But it can't be that there's a different end result. If there's a different end result, then it's going to be a problem. The truth is, and this is some Zalman, it sounds like he's even saying Sheir Hashum Bekalos. If it makes it easier for the guy, it's going to be a problem. Okay, Yishlai, and we have to see what the problem would be just if it's making it easier. Could be, it depends on the amount of time. If the guy now wouldn't have time, that's a different story. If the guy would have time, then it would be allowed. Now, note number 26 goes in the case of the shivcha is doing her own stuff. A shivcha that lights a candle in order to wash the dishes, since the yid is not gaining from that, rather the yid's kalim are gaining, because now she can wash the dishes with the light, she can see what she's doing, and she's doing it for herself, therefore, she's allowed to do it. And more than that, afterwards, since she did it for herself, the yid afterwards can benefit from that light. Now we continue with Sivav, a difficult sif. Says the Mechaber, Yudi Akonim Meches, a yid is a tax collector. That's his job. He is a tax collector. And he's hired by a guy to collect taxes on Shabbos. Says the Mechaber, Mutter imu biki. So again, everything just flipped over here. No, I read it wrong. Let's say it again. Something didn't make sense. One more time. Not that he was hired. He hires a guy. The Yid is a tax collector. He doesn't want to work on Shabbos. Classical case. The Yid is whatever he is. So what does he do? He hires a guy to take his place. Mutter if it's biki bailas. Take him a maya dinarim. You tell the guy when you get 100 dinarim, I'll give you such and such. Says the Ramah. You're allowed to hire him for all Shabbos. And I'll take the profit of Shabbos. We don't have to worry that people will say he's doing it for the Yid. So we have a very unique kula coming out over here because of Makayim Pseida. So let's see the Mishnah Berurah to understand this halacha. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sivkat Lamed Aleph, Mascher lo yinu Yehudi. Halashain einu meduyake. Kvanu sheseicher einu Yehudi. So this is where I got confused, and Baruch Hashem, Mishnah Berurah sets us straight. That what? Sheseicher esa einu Yehudi. You hire the guy. So if it's B'ki Bailis, Sivkat Lamed Aleph, does Shari Medina. Because then we know, Ki Bailis is Motor Medina, we don't have to worry about the Marasai, and K'may Ba'aris La'abdan, Rishim, Nation, and Beza we'll get to. To Motor Litz, like Kadush, Ki Chama, B'ki Bailis. Shem Zaytin, Av Shei Kavod, he's working for himself. Of course, there's always a problem if you tell the guy that he has to work on Shabbos. Everyone knows that this is a Yiddish stuff. It's like he's working in the Yiddish house. The Aser Sham over there in Reish and Beis were more machmir. So why we here we makel. We call Makai Metir Bezem Mishum Seida. So we have a unique kula coming out over here Mishum Seida. To Adam Bol Al Memainai. Person is worried about losing his livelihood. If we don't allow the tax collector to do this, we have to be worried he's going to come to collect the tax himself. So you have to realize the case. There's a potential daraisa on the table. To save the daraisa, we're allowing a form of mir la'akom, we're allowing a form of a guy working, which generally, at some level, seemingly would be aser. He might write a receipt. Let's say we have a tax, you don't write a receipt. You take food as a tax. Then you don't have the kula. Because there's no daraisa. Why? You're never going to come to daraisa. You're never going to come to daraisa, even if we're not makel for him. And therefore, we don't have this unique kula. However, that's what it would sound like, says Mr. Berurah. They're masking that no, even when it's only a derabanan on the table, there still is a kula. So on one hand, we're gonna have a kula when it's derabanan to get taxes, you can get a guy misham seida. On the other hand, says the Mishnah Berurah, don't think because you're making to let a guy do it, maybe you can just do it yourself. No. You can't collect the tax yourself. Even if it's not chutz tzcham, there's no din daraisa. Still, still also to do by yourself. Period. So we're going to allow not only the taxes of daraisa to get a guy to do, even the rabbanans. Why? Special kula misham seida. Yudi shesachar bishal hamelech min atzar. Yudi that hires bishal hamelech min atzar. Mutter lahaschaloi pa'elim because he can hire workers to do this. Shem yasa loikach loikach melchit loikach loikach. Make this much salt. I'll give you this much wages. It all belongs to the Yid. So Shari. But Shabbos, you can't bring it out of the Yid's property on Shabbos. Shekol kablanas ina mutares elim kain. Masla me'erev Shabbos. Kol mashor tzalim tzlasarech hamalacha. For your team or shoes of Erev Shabbos, you can never take anything out of the Yid's possession on Shabbos. This is a contested line over here. It would sound like nothing. It would sound like you want to pay the cleaning lady. You're not allowed to pay her on Shabbos. She cannot walk out of your house carrying something. There's no heter to hire a guy shal Shabbos for a week or a month. The only heter is kablanis. Now about that detail, whether a guy could come out of the Yid's house, is something that we're going to talk about. From here, it certainly sounds like it would be usher, but it's something that we will discuss. And finally, it says Mishmur if Katalam Gimel Atin L'Chakach V'Kach Hainu Shein Masel Yom Shabbos Klal. He doesn't mention the day of Shabbos. I'm going to give you for 100 dinarim this percentage. Elabistama Im Tig V'Kach V'Kach. If you collect this and this, Atin L'Chakach Sach Kach V'Kach Im Kain. Therefore, Lav Yischar Yoim Kam Less Lekan Schar Shabbos Klal. Why? Because it all comes as one package deal. Let's wrap up the day with a few short dirshu's. Says the dirshu over here, note number 27. This heter of Seida, says the Shartzin Reish Mem Hey B'Shin the Taz. It's only be'isek gadol when you're baal al mimanai, which thereby calls into question. Seemingly would not sound like it's just to make a profit. Sounds like it's not something. It sounds like it has to be an asik gadol, that you're going to be bald, that you're going to be nervous, and you might come to be over deraisa. Those are the parameters of this kula. And the Dirshu over here continues quoting the Shevet HaLevi that says, just like we just said, someone has a lot of business and he wants to have extra profits. Says the Shevet HaLevi, this heter does not apply, because this is only someone that if he didn't have this, then he would have nothing. Adds on the Shevet HaLevi, Badlaku Menusa, Shemisha B'chapis Etir B'nagir Shabbos Kodesh, Reb Seif Mafsed, a shtickle bit of a promise, or the opposite, from the Heilige Shevet HaLevi. And finally, he says, Dirshu number 28, the reason that you have to bring out the items from the Yid's property during the day, we will learn in Rishon and Beis, is so that Shliach Shedu Shetziva B'Shabbos with Zechshad, we don't want someone to think that you commanded him on Shabbos to take it out. Therefore, if it's a place, a city that has an Erev or something like that, then on this detail we don't have to be concerned. Why? Because then there's no problem taking it out. There's another reason that we'll learn over there. Maybe you sold it to him on Shabbos, and for that reason, even if there is an Erev, it's a problem. And we're going to conclude over there in Rishon and Beis. This is the reason why we mentioned that Lamaisa, to take out money, or that the cleaner they take out money on Shabbos might be a problem. There are many who want to be machmir based these mishtaburas. Lamaisa of Shmuel Kamenetsky has a diak over there, which we'll get to, Amir Tashem, in which he's willing to be makel, right? Rav Dina Lasher Kleiman, to let the cleaner lady take the money out of the house on Shabbos. And we'll stop over here. We'll pick it up from the end of Sivav the next year, B'siyata Dishmaya.